Yusuf Alelu. Good morning to you, Yusuf. Lovely to have you with us.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much, Sonia. It's my pleasure to be with you.
It is my pleasure indeed. You are a political analyst, you're a writer and expert in Palestine and the Middle East, of course, and you have a very active Instagram account. And some of the things I've listened to, some of your interviews, and they are really touching, very profound about what is going on in Gaza. And, I cannot forget when talking to you that you have family in Gaza, right?
Yes, I do. They are split between the south in Rafah and the north in Gaza City itself, where it is experiencing man-made famine, starvation.
And I think one of the things that you've acknowledged, and certainly I have and other people have, is the difference in the UK response to Gaza and Ukraine. What are your thoughts about that?
It's obviously clear the lack of seriousness on part of the Western governments, including the UK, when it comes to delivering aid and at the same time delivering weapons to Israel to kill civilians in Gaza. It's hypocrisy. It's double standards policy. It shows the level of racism, I would say, the level of humiliation to Palestinians when it comes to people brown in the Middle East. And the response to Ukraine was so much different. In the sense, also, we are trying to bring our families to safety as a British citizen. And the UK government is reluctant, is not listening to us. They say the Ukrainian visa family scheme was one-off scheme. And the UK hosted almost 300,000 Ukrainians, which is a good thing to do to welcome refugees fleeing conflicts. But us Palestinians, we can see that we don't count in the eyes of the UK government.
Yes, different rules, isn't it? You're unfortunately, Gaza is not on the right side when it comes to our political representatives. You know exactly what I'm talking about here. Let us look at an article that was published this week by Ramzi Baroud, and it's an extraordinary piece, but I think you probably will agree with it. And it's about how the killing of humanitarian workers is a strategy. Obviously, we heard about the aid workers last week and the drivers, and it was, oh, this is a terrible mistake. This wasn't supposed to have happened, even though, the IDF were aware of the movements and it was in a no conflict zone. The vehicles were very clearly marked about what they were. But this is a deliberate strategy, isn't it?
Well, the IYF, the Israeli Occupation Forces, they consider themselves one of the most advanced armies in the world, and especially in the Middle East. So if they cannot identify vehicles used by international staff, this is a disaster because they claim to have been carrying precision strikes. But if they intentionally target those aid workers and even civilians in Gaza, let's not forget 30,000 or almost plus.
So what we're obviously talking about is the deliberate targeting of not just aid workers, but of anybody who can provide any form of supply, right?
Yes, I cannot imagine what they think when they target those innocent people, when they target the international aid staff. They killed already 140 Palestinian aid workers. They killed 126 journalists. They killed tens of paramedics. They attacked hospitals. I mean, how that is moral? This shows that Israel is the country #1 in the world that attacks and targets children and attacks hospitals. This is due to the impunity that Israel has been enjoying for the past, 7 decades. You cannot claim to be the most moral army and the only democracy in the Middle East, and the world is watching you, watching this digital genocide unfolds and being broadcasted by the victims. And we've been calling and urging, millions of people have been calling for ceasefire. Please stop. This is not going to work. Israel must be pressured to stop. It's not going to stop by itself. There must be some accountability, some embargo, some punishment to say, look, you cannot carry on. You are a spoiled brat entity. You must be punished. Until then Israel will change course. Before that, it will continue doing what it's doing.
The difficulty is, of course, is the complicity of our political representatives in the UK. You live in the UK, you know what's going on here politically, and that is so many of our political parties and the members within those political parties are part of Friends of Israel. So they are compromised. Many politicians receive money from Israel lobby groups, so they are compromised. So this is a huge problem, isn't it? And one of the things that we hear a lot, Yusuf, and especially from our political representatives, is Israel has a right to defend itself. What do you think whenever you hear that well-worn, trotted-out phrase now?
I think it's Palestinians who have the right to defend themselves too, who have been under colonization, occupation for almost 7 decades. Why Israel is allowed to arm itself from head to toe, with the latest technology, weapons, you call it, and they transform Gaza into a testing experimentally ground. Whereas Palestinians under crippling siege, under occupation, they are not allowed to resist even peacefully. Look what happened a few years ago when thousands of Palestinians were marching peacefully along the Gaza border during the Great March of Return. They were shot like sitting ducks, journalists, paramedics. Israel is enjoying this. These young Israeli soldiers, when they shoot and kill, it's like they think they are in a video game. And the idea that the whole world is continuing to say Israel has got a right for self-defense. Israel is an occupying power. It must protect the population under its occupation. They must provide the basic necessities, water, electricity, food. But look what they are doing. They are starving the population. People in Gaza have no electricity for the past 6 months, no drinking water, no sense of stability. The drones annoys people on a daily basis. Look what happened with the people who are trying to depart Gaza. Leaving Gaza is not picnic. It's so much suffering. You have to prepare. You have to prepare lots amount of money. And when the Israelis show that they found few Kalashnikovs here and there, it's like they consider this an achievement. Come on, you've got tanks, you've got warplanes, you've got warships, and they just try to find any justification to say that Hamas is using the Palestinians as a human shield. Well, Israel has been using Palestinians as human shields. Israel has been transforming Gaza into a testing ground and as a scapegoat to scare its neighbors in the region. And it seems now Israel thinks it is a country above the international law. It can do whatever it wants. It can attack whenever it wants. It's easily can create justification and falsification and fake videos and propaganda just to justify its attacks. And the world knows that Israel also one of those few countries in the world that it is relying on lies.
Well, the problem, of course, is that the PR campaign for Israel is absolutely significantly failing now. When you have kids on TikTok who are more aware than ever before about what is taking place, I think it's quite extraordinary, really. But one of the things that I've heard you say, and it did shock me, was that the sheer amount of money that Gazans needed to be able to leave. You were saying it was about $7,000 each person.
Yes. Well, now, Gaza has been under a crippling siege in what is known as the world's largest open-air prison. And when we use this terminology, some of the Zionists, they laugh and say, oh, look, you yourself, Yusuf, you've been filming Gaza when you were in the summer. And the beauty that we are seeing, it doesn't reveal that Gaza has been a siege. I said it has been a siege, but we Palestinians, with our determination, with our private investments, we have transformed that prison into a paradise. We have beautified that prison. I produced some videos when I was visiting in the summer, and it was really amazing that I was able to enjoy Gaza before it's being destroyed in front of our eyes. I saw the family, I met my family members, and I'm glad that at least I saw my sister Asma, who was killed during this genocide alongside with her children. So leaving Gaza is not easy. And I would like to continue what I wanted to start, which is Israel has transformed this bigger prison into a concentration camp. And now this concentration camp is being transformed into an extermination camp, because the carpet bombing that we have been seeing shows that Israel has no disregard it has no regard to the loss of human lives. The indiscriminate bombardment, the tank shelling, seeing people panicking, it's a hunger game. When those airplanes drop aid and some of those people, they drown because they cannot swim, they try to grab whatever they want, whatever available. and many of the parachutes failed to open. So we acknowledge that there's no safer place in Gaza. So to leave Gaza, you have to go through the Egyptian Rafah border crossing. This crossing is between Gaza and Egypt. We share a 12-kilometer border, and the only access point for us to travel to the outside world is via Cairo International Airport. So we take a transportation from Rafah to Cairo. In normal days, it should take approximately 5 hours. But due to the bureaucracies and many checkpoints along the Sinai Peninsula, it could take 24 hours, 48 hours. So, in every conflict, there are profiteers. People take advantage of the suffering of other people. Unfortunately, people are shocked to the core. They feel that they are being dehumanized. They are being used, blackmailed, extorted. Every person who wants to leave Gaza, you have to pay between $5,000, $7,000 extra 500 fees. So you're talking, if you are a family of 5, you're talking about $40,000-$50,000. Some people, by the way, now they have started selling their properties in order to get the money to pay to the Egyptian authorities and leave to the outside world to escape this genocide. What about those who can't afford?
This is terrible. Not only is there a deliberate displacement clearly taking place, but many people are forced to even, sell up their own properties. Incidentally, I saw your videos about how beautiful it was. And that is not the public image that we often see when we think of Gaza either. And absolutely stunning. And I'm very sorry to hear about your family. That's heartbreaking. But the other thing that you said, and I think it's interesting, is you said, obviously, because of the Balfour Declaration that took place, you said that the UK now must play a role in righting and correcting this historical injustice.
Yes, very much indeed. If you ask any Palestinian in Palestine, not only in Gaza, they will tell you that it is Great Britain who is the main responsible for our tragedy, for our suffering for the past 75 years. Because Balfour, he had no right to grant a homeland to other people in Palestine at the expense of our suffering, made us refugees scattered all over the world. And until this moment, the UK government did not recognize Palestine as a state, which is a slap in the face. They continue to provide Israel with ammunition, and they did not, until this moment, apologize for that historical injustice. They did not provide compensation. One of the compensations that they can offer is that, they can take a responsibility and intervene in one way or another to allow us to bring our families to safety, since we are British citizens. Our numbers, if they agree to give us this honorable, or because they say the UK has been a sanctuary to welcome refugees. Now it's the time. Now, this is the time to show who's in the right side of history and who is in the right side of conspiracy. And our numbers, if they allow us to bring them, wouldn't exceed 5,000 members, whereas the Ukrainians who were welcomed here, now they exceeded almost 300,000. And we say we must give the UK people, we must give British people the opportunity to sponsor refugees. The UK, the London, is one of the most important hubs to show solidarity with the Palestinians. And I think the UK people, they acknowledge that it is their government, it is our government, the UK government, is the one who must really intervene, because we know that the US administration is the one who is enjoying and playing the scene now, because it is the world's closest ally to Israel, and also the UK. Look what some of the statements made by the Israeli ambassador, also a number of officials, UK officials, the one who was sacked, Suella Braverman. It seems that they work to appease the Israeli government. They don't work.
Well, they're Zionists. You said we must be very clear that, good luck with attempting to get the UK government to rectify this situation, because it's top heavy with Zionists. This is a reality. And Suella Braverman, I have stated very clearly on this show that I believe she has very significantly split loyalties. And the way that she was trying to create some sort of civil war in our country, just horrendous. So I am no fan of Suella Braverman, believe me on that. But listen, Yusuf, before you go, just please comment on this for me. Two-state, it's not a solution as far as you're concerned, right?
No, it's a racist solution. It's not going to grant Palestinians their long-awaited inalienable rights. Israel killed the taste of solution anyway. And Netanyahu recently said that he will not allow the establishment of a Palestinian state, and said, we Palestinians, we advocate now for one democratic, secular state for all of its citizens with equal rights. Jews, Muslims, Christians, different colors, ethnicities live in one country under one constitution. The majority rules. You call it the United States of Palestine and Israel. You call it the Holy Land. We have no problem with the name. And Israel says, no, we want a Jewish state, because one state solution, allowing Palestinians to live in this state, means the end of the Zionist project. So Israel wants to keep and maintain the status quo. It wants to continue with this apartheid regime, and it's up to the world to intervene. And look, Israel has violated the international system and sabotaged the international system, and set a precedent that Israel can do whatever it wants under the slogan of self-defense, scaring other nations and waving the anti-Semitic card. And I think the world shouldn't tolerate this anymore. So we blame the UK government, we blame the US administration, we blame the Western governments who are watching us being slaughtered for the past 6 months.
Understood. Thank you, Yusuf. Thank you for joining us this morning. I pray for your family. I pray for all people who are caught up in this horrendous conflict. Everybody, this is Yusuf Al-Alou. You can find him on Instagram and check out his IG channel. Thank you so much, Yusuf. Take good care of yourself. We'll be right back.